Yeah, we're just allowed. Let's just say behind Will's body here.
I don't see any.
Yeah, he did, he brought you. Since then, we did.
Yeah, that's a pretty good ball.
Geez, you guys bringing pizzas in over there tonight? I was in that red case about 10 minutes ago.
Oh, turn on here, right?
Oh, sorry, Dean, wasn't pizza.
Should have said pizza this morning.
It's
like some of these categories, you
Give up his thoughts and wait for. Full train.
Yeah, we just need this one, the fire department.
Oh, okay.
Thanks, Brian. Make
I just came in.
make it break. Work.
Is the show on? Yes.
Right on.
Thank you.
That bar is not very high. Pledge allegiance to the flag.
United States of America. Stand.
One nation.
Under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Motion to approve the minutes.
I'll make a motion. Aye.
Motion to approve purchase order request.
Skip one. Number two.
No,
Yeah,
I just want to do a second.
yeah. Wow. I'll make a motion.
I'm slow down a little bit.
It's a long day. It's a long day. I'm gonna have a cushy job with you guys.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve audit of expense abstracts.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
I'll second.
All in favor? Motion to approve data park use application for AYSO soccer to park greens and Little League softball use. Data park ball field.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion to approve revisions of sick time policy in the employee handbook.
You guys have any questions on that?
What's that? Yeah, I do. What's that?
So we revised the employee handbook last year. And in the revisions, those things were left out of the sick time policy. So we're just putting those back into policy.
Okay. I'll make a motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And we need to approve Theo's budget transfers here for the sewer project. And that's just a, but I think we're gonna, I believe, correct me here, we're gonna pay it out of fund balance until the check comes in. No.
No, once that check comes in, we should be getting it this week. It's going to be deposited to the sewer fund, but it'll be in the fund balance. So from there, I need to transfer that money into the sewer project budget code.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor? And that's for the new building. I need to get a chance,
Right.
rather than drag down, take a look at it. Very disturbing.
And then I just want to clarify that I would like to pay them Shacker Construction prior to the next meeting, if that's okay with everybody. That's part of that.
Yeah, we all have to, yeah.
Okay.
Are they completed?
Yes.
Yes,
100% is gorgeous.
It's, yeah,
we're just electricians are coming in next week or tomorrow.
And they don't do that part.
No.
okay, I don't know if we want to skip 8 or.
Well, that's what I was really thinking about.
Have a
State
motion
character.
to approve the new fire department elected officials. And I think we got the list on before. There's no way to list them all.
I did not send it in the board pack.
Did you bring it, Will?
Well, you got 3 here, how many more are
Matt Jerzak was nominated as captain again, Brian Cassett as captain. Dan Friedel as a lieutenant, and Griffin Martin as a
Does everybody know Will and Sean and Jared?
there? Congratulations, all 3.
Yeah.
So I'll make a motion to accept the.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public participation. You're not. Go ahead, Peggy.
Has there been any discussion about Memorial Day or anything? Have you had any requests to use the park yet or?
I have not heard of it. Have you?
No.
You want it?
No. Well.
But no, I Gail was out here before any of this. Are we assuming was there for you last year?
No, there was a wreath ceremony that was not open to the public. The Memorial Park and high school bands haven't been, they haven't done anything this year, so you wouldn't have bands. They wouldn't have the 2 bands at the park or the parade. But, you know, I think communities are trying to figure out what they can do last year.
That's close. Public participation.
Back on that topic, the American Legion usually contacts us.
Yes, I think they asked for permission to have a parade, even though they have to notify the state. But in the past, did they last long, not last year? But yes, we're usually aware of it.
Yeah, technically, that, where they do that is their own line of park. So they don't really, if they just do the wreath ceremony, they don't have to get our permission to do anything, but it would be nice to let people know it's happening.
The Legion is doing their chicken barbecue that day, but we didn't get anything about any ceremonies or if it's open to the public.
But we can stand in our park and watch them.
So who's the commander there, is it still Snyder?
No.
No, Tim Snyder. Tim Snyder, I think.
Is it still?
Mike Ferner does braids too.
He's the color director. All right, well,
Yeah.
Tim Snyder, you see him down Stewart, and they don't call him. Contact us over.
Department heads. You wait, James?
Yes. Just to follow up,
I asked that because we drove all night. Fell asleep at our meeting.
I got an hour and a half today.
Okay.
Just to follow up with Tom Kiltz, I spoke to Tom Kiltz about
Big Creek Park?
Big Creek Park, but Pop Warner, there you go. So what his intent was to do is to have like a few kids come in different days. He was gonna paint out a small half of a football field. He just felt that that field was a little more leveler than Babbitt Park, and parking was more readily available. So I was good with what he was proposing to do. Instead of him getting a porta john, because Little League is using Fireman's Field, we supplied that for him, so he was happy about that. So I think we tabled it till this meeting, so I'm just following up so you guys can approve this. I know they've already started, but I kind of agree with that. I think it's gonna be fine.
So I'll do the motion, we do accept it, now we've heard the details.
And I did offer, if the cheerleaders were interested in using the skate park for a flat level surface, that I would give them a key, they could just open and close it periodically instead of being out in the field. So, but I think it's a good idea.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Got something.
Yeah, that's,
Okay.
Have you heard anything else on the correct?
Anything else for James? Fire chief,
Just companies, 424 is back from Churchville, it's been under COVID, all the repairs are gonna be 421 had a new tires put on by Max's Tires. So they're on, they do have the tires put on auctions, they're national,
Yes.
help offset the cost. And 421 will be going to Churchville here hopefully in the next week or two. To get undercoated and then all the trucks will have their undercoating.
anything else for Will?
Yeah. Hey, well, some of the doors on, I think it's 421G, one of them was supposed to be done, fixed years ago by Scott Sedell, but nobody's ever taken them off and brought them down to them or anything. Where they're all bubbled out before they actually rush straight through.
For your sex,
Yeah.
the pickup truck.
Yeah. No, working on that, the last truck that's in the fire bay.
Unfortunately.
Pick up the two.
Oh, yeah, there was a couple of them, and plus there was a couple of them that really need some attention before the rust actually goes through. So we start looking to get that done, at least getting some prices to bring us,
I'll definitely get pricing from Scott and see what he said.
you know. Better than letting it rust through.
The cost of them, you gotta try and maintain them.
Next meeting.
Exactly.
So that, the issue with 426, I have the same issue with our water truck, because it's an aluminum box and it's a steel handle. Scott didn't feel like he could match the paint, but he was gonna try. I have spoken, I mean, same, ours is worse than his, because ours was outside every day.
Right.
But it is something that I'm gonna contact with Scott on also. Where we can take the doors off, he just stated that it's not gonna match the paint when you do it, and it's gonna come back again eventually because it's a metal handle on aluminum.
Well, there's on 426, it's right on the doors.
Yeah, no, I know the doors come up, but what I'm saying is still not, it's not gonna paint.
It's not gonna blend in.
That's correct, yeah, that was one of the Scott's concerns.
It's still better than last
No,
year.
I get it. Well, but it's aluminum, it's not gonna rust, it's just oxidized from the.
Could we try to gas it? Are you asking about what the gas?
We talked about different scenarios and that's as far as we get. So it is doable, basically.
I'll get pricing.
Thanks.
Anything else for Will? Will, our next meeting's the 10th, okay? Is it possible that we could meet over there right at 7 and just get a quick little tour of the trucks? We've talked about it for a while now, but weather's better. Trucks. So everybody.
Oh, meantime. We do 6:30.
Well,
That's our monthly meeting, and our council meeting starts at 7.
maybe you can back it up 10 minutes. Check, see what-
6:45.
I guess, I would say yes, but if that works for everybody else.
Oh, boy, I don't know.
So actually, you guys can start off if you want, I can leave you.
Just so we all have looked at it, and we know what we're talking about.
Sure.
But if that doesn't work, we got 2 meetings in May?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Second meeting in May? One of your secretaries gonna punch that in these calendars so you don't forget it.
Sure, you do it right now.
The other thing I'd like to bring up while you're here is the pavilions down at the parking lot. Not just my feelings, but I agree with them. I've had a few people tell me how horrible they look, how rough they look, how they need painting or tearing down or something. I mean, they look bad, they don't. So I don't know if you want, is that your job to bring up on the floor, or can you convey that to the president? If they want, they can convey the property over to us and we fix it up.
I don't know about that.
Just throwing it out there. But a few people have mentioned that, and I agree with you. Okay,
Well, I got one more thing.
okay.
Has anybody brought any attention to cleaning up the upstairs, utility room and that?
Well, wasn't there, who was there for inspection?
Huh?
We go around.
I don't remember who it was when we were there.
Yeah, it was well, it was you.
No, it wasn't Will, we didn't go with Will.
You guys were there in the morning, I didn't get there until the afternoon.
Yeah, his kid was there.
Anyway, yeah, we looked at the trucks and did a little Gemini.
Oh, I know.
We looked the whole building over, like
We were looking
that,
at that crack.
the crack,
Oh, yeah.
but also the
Which
generator room upstairs.
Got the generator room?
Yeah,
Yeah, that was a real mess.
that's the walls are
We
horrible.
were soda all over the electrical boxes and all.
Needs a little slicking on. And actually, the bathroom downstairs looked a little. It's not like my wife, you know, but it looked a little, it could use a little slicking on. But we'll see that probably still in a month.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring it up. That's all I have. Codes?
Nothing really new, just do permits, start doing, some inspections. We got some scheduled for this week too. Nothing really new.
Anybody have anything for Kevin?
You what? I think you're gonna ask him, so I won't.
I think I'm gonna ask.
We got this letter from the state.
Oh, yes.
Turning in our yearly report on us swimming. And he said we haven't gotten
Yeah,
anything from
I
us.
got that email too, they've got it. I got an email saying, that I did it.
So,
Yeah, I asked you to get back to show, I didn't know that, so now I.
Well, you may want to contact somebody because when you submitted that report, it sent us a copy of that report, but there was nothing in it.
Oh, really?
No, there was like a part where your name was listed, so I don't know if you filled it out and didn't save it, or I don't know how the report's done. So
I'll forward you that, just so you know, but yeah, I can contact.
yeah, so if you have a copy of that report, if you could send it to us, just for.
Oh, I don't have a copy of it, but I'm saying what, as soon as I sent it, I got a confirmation email saying that I sent it.
Well, that's what it said. It said that the yearly report was submitted, and then a copy of the report was attached. And when you open up the attachment, the report's there, but there's no information in it.
Oh, really? I didn't look at that, let me look at it. But
Okay.
Anything else you covered?
Only that we've had a few times when we come to these, just have a list of, what you've been doing since the last meeting. Like, what street address, permit, this, that.
okay, do you want that detailed, this
So
one?
not keeping that in detail, just say,
What permits are out there, what's open, what, have you got open? And it can be, I mean, if nothing's changing, then, you're not gonna.
Right.
Just so that we know what's out there, or
Okay.
we all know you know what's out there. Right, Brian, that's basically.
Yeah. Treasurer clerk.
I actually have stuff. First, Patty just submitted a facility use request for May 5th to use this room from 3 to 4:30 for the Waterville School Foundation. We're going to have about 6 to 10 people. Just need to room along this.
You gonna single them out party in there for that? for December.
Well, actually, I was thinking it wasn't May the 4th, the Star Wars day.
So.
May 5th, yeah,
It's Wednesday.
yeah. We've had mild success with Zoom and the school's not open for us to meet. So,
Also, we're like your third choice.
well, yeah.
Yeah,
If it
we're,
was warm, we could.
So we need a motion.
Is that daytime, nighttime, not that it matters?
She said before.
3 o'clock, 3
Three
to
to
4.
4:30.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
All in favor?
Did you have a book club here already?
Yeah, we did.
That worked out okay?
And it was great.
Did you set this far apart?
No.
So the other thing I kind of wanted to go over is I attended a webinar from Nikon on the new marijuana law passed, and Berta attended it as well. So I got distracted a lot because people were in the office, so if I missed anything important, jump in and.
Yeah, I will track that.
So basically, the law is passed. The only thing that's currently you're able to do right now is possession and use of marijuana. It's 3 ounces or 3 ounces of marijuana or 24 grams of concentrated marijuana. They're not expecting any sale of marijuana until late 2022, early 2023. So that's going to be a while before any type of sales could happen. So as a village, we can opt out of allowing retail sales in the village of Waterville. If we choose to opt out, that law needs to be passed before the end of the year, by 12/31. And it will be, we do have to have a permissive referendum in order for that law to go enacted. The permissive referendum does not have to be held by 12/31, just the law needs to be passed. After 12/31, the village cannot opt out, you're in. The only way to get sales tax revenue from marijuana retail sales is to, obviously you have to opt into this, and you have to actually have a retail sales business within the village. It's not something that they share the revenue throughout the county. You actually have to have a marijuana sales place within the village in order to get that money.
there are a lot of individuals that sell. Now,
Legally.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is there something about the opting out and then getting back in? Because if you opt out and you go back in, wasn't there a penalty from the sales tax?
I don't remember that.
Okay. I thought there
Possibly.
was, but it was pretty dense.
It was?
Yeah,
Okay. I didn't hear that. I'd have to go back and look at that one.
okay.
I'm not gonna go into all the permissive referendum stuff. You can't opt out of on-site consumption or dispensaries. You can sell it. You can opt in to have retail sales, but you can opt out of allowing on-site consumption sites. So that's an either or. Any of the cannabis operations are still subject to local zone laws and land use regulations. So for instance, you cannot put a dispensary in a residential area. It would have to be in a business area. The village can regulate the time, place, and manner of dispensaries and on-site use as long as the regulations do not make it unreasonably impractical for them to operate their business. So you can't tell them they can be only open from 7 in the morning until 10 in the morning. You have to let them actually. Cultivators, they give a lot of information about that. They're more likely going to fall under the Department of Agriculture, so they didn't have a lot of information on that yet. That obviously, I won't say obviously, I guess there is some people that own land inside the village, but more than likely that would happen outside the village. Anyone who wants to locate a dispensary or an on-site consumption business within the village has to notify the village prior to applying for their license. So we would know if someone's interested before they even get approved through the state. And here's a big thing. So we get the option to opt in. Town of Sangerfield gets the option to opt in. Same with Town of Marshall. If we have a business go in downtown and it's in the Town of Sangerfield and in the village of Waterville, Town of Sangerfield, if we all opt in, we have to split the sales tax revenue with Town of Sangerfield and the village, and it's 3%.
It possibly could be, we opted in, Sangerville opts out, and you wouldn't split.
We would not split it, correct.
Sales tax is 3%. So we said,
That's how much the city or the village would get,
oh,
3%, that we, possibly have to split. As a village, we cannot prohibit personal cultivation or possession. They're all covered by law, so there's nothing that we can do.
Even on village properties?
No, there's no smoking on village property.
Yeah, so you can't, anything with the village property, you can prohibit. So even though we have a no smoking policy, we may want to update that to include no marijuana use. And I think there was something in there too about you can still regulate, like you could say no smoking marijuana on village sidewalks.
Right, I think they kind of said to coordinate that with laws that are already in place about smoking. But I think you can have laws that tell people where they cannot smoke, or in the village, on village property.
Yeah, because if you don't have those in place, basically somebody can walk down the street smoking a joint.
So that would only be for village property, not public site.
Correct,
Well,
yeah, but we can pass a law, we
Can
would
we,
have to pass a law stating that.
can we do it on public property? Or no, I don't remember. I have to watch it.
I thought that we could, within the village, you can,
On our public property and whatever we have ability to regulate.
On what? Parks?
On our, say, this property or the firehouse or the Babbitt Field.
but not sidewalks.
Sidewalks, I think, is a separate issue.
That's what I'm asking.
I'll reach out to NICOM about that. Just to get some clarification, because I thought that we could.
So if that's the case, Main Street is technically all village property, how are we gonna handle that? It's something they take into consideration.
State property.
But we own to the front of the faces of the buildings. So it's technically state right away, the village only have it, correct?
So we could ban it there.
That's, and
I think we probably can, but that I think takes a separate, local law as opposed to our proprietary property, which is
Correct.
this village hall and park.
Is there a way to contact other villages that have done this kind of successfully in their village? And I know each village is different, to find out some of the ideas that they had and some of the things.
Who else has done it?
Well, not in New
Nobody's
York
done it.
State.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Who else has done it?
In the next few months, I'm sure.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
just thought maybe we should get into.
Well, at the beginning of the meeting, he said something about that, and somebody said something about contacting Massachusetts, and he said, he was joking, he said, don't contact Massachusetts, their laws are a mess. So,
I was thinking even like, some of the, I don't know if that's feasible, but out in Colorado where it's really prevalent, there has to be some small villages out there that are, I don't know.
well, it's all in Colorado, it's only distributed by the state anyway, right? It's all regulated.
That's how this is gonna be, the same thing. This is all gonna be regulated by the state.
And it's obviously, if you can buy cigarettes, you're gonna be able, but it's not kids, right? Kids can't.
Right,
No.
kids can't buy, you gotta be 21.
Okay, that, I didn't.
It owns a dispensary, so you can't sell alcohol, tobacco, and marijuana. This dispensary is a whole separate license, and that's all you can sell. And you cannot have a dispensary, and you can't also have a license to be a cultivator. They're separating everything and, yeah. So this is where this really comes to us as far as employees.
I was just gonna ask you.
Yeah, so we cannot bar any employee from using marijuana. It's legal now, so as long as they don't, obviously they cannot come to work under the influence. Issue is going to be drug testing. I mean, marijuana stays in their system for a long time, so they're working out, trying to find some ways to do some different type of drug testing, but right now.
So you did mention that to me the other day, and we talked about CDL laws all still apply, but
Yes.
we are in that random drug testing pool, so we are not allowed to take drugs. So how does that work?
It doesn't matter. You cannot, there's no way, unless it's somebody who has a CDL, so.
But that's not what I'm saying. We have a drug and alcohol policy, and it's in there that we cannot be.
But that policy was in place before marijuana became legal.
So that means fire department is incorporated in this also.
Correct.
And if somebody there gets in one of those trucks, they're the influence, there's gonna be huge liabilities and stuff.
Different alcohol.
I'm not arguing. My whole point is, I thought the reason we were in that drug and alcohol policy because we're not allowed to do it, so.
The problem is though, and that's the difference between alcohol. If somebody comes in and gets tested and they show alcohol in their blood, they were drinking prior to getting in. Whereas if somebody smokes a joint over the weekend and they go into a fire on Monday and they get tested, they're not under the influence. And that's the issue with it. It's still in their system. So it's legal for them to use it. It's not legal for them to come to work or to drive a fire truck under the influence.
Right, I think that's where Jamie's going. Whose liability is it if they're wrecked?
My whole point is, we can't take drugs and we can't have alcohol. We are tested for that periodically.
But
Yeah.
But marijuana is not gonna be a forbidden drug.
But it should still be part of the
No,
policy.
the problem is the testing.
yes,
And right now, they don't have the test.
it's the same thing as if you go and drink on the weekend and, you know,
I understand, but if you stop and think about it, and I know I'm not making the laws up, you can go and drink, you can get a DWI, correct?
right.
You can go smoke dope, get in an accident, you can get.
But that's my point is that it's gonna, whether they could very well not be under the influence at the time that accident happened,
But it would still.
but it's
show
still
up.
gonna show us in their
I
test.
get what you're saying.
Even, I mean, they're saying it can show up in the test up to 3 months later.
Shouldn't that be a municipality or whoever's opt in, opt
Yeah,
out?
did you not hear me? Employers cannot bar or discriminate, are barred from discriminating against cannabis use.
About possessing it on employees, possessing it on, say, the garage or here or there.
Well, that's the thing, it's not gonna be
You can have
legal on our property.
But, no, I would
It could be in
have,
your truck.
I would ask NICOM about that. I would think possession at work would be different. I mean, that's no different than showing up to work with a 6-pack. Who's gonna do that?
Well, if you leave your truck. I got an 18-pack in my truck right now.
Yeah, I would say,
But
well,
not in the village truck.
No, oh, yeah,
That's what we're talking.
okay, oh, okay.
Yeah.
What she's saying too, even say Kevin worked for us and he pulled in, I mean, say he's got in his truck, it shouldn't be allowed on village property. So it shouldn't be allowed in there.
all right, I will follow up with NICOM.
No, I feel like there's just a lot of clarity that needs.
You said that you really know how to write these laws.
Right, and it needs to be in our handbook, like spelled out.
I
I
agree
mean,
with
I
you.
think we
I
have to
agree
wait
with
for
you.
the state.
I get it.
Yeah. That's what I was saying.
It should be spelled out,
I just
yeah.
think those guys didn't think of this all through.
Well, I think they're still coming across.
It's all about how much money we can pay them, if we put more about.
Losing the revenue to New Jersey.
Move along, Bill.
I think,
Bill will straighten us out on this a year ago.
I'm sure.
well, the possession part of it's already enacted. So, I think the biggest thing that everybody is CDL drivers still cannot have a positive drug test. So if any of you guys aren't, well, you, as a CDL, any CDL license holders, if you have a positive drug test, you can still lose, because that's all regulated by the federal government. And so federal law is still against the law, so if you have a CDL, you can lose your CDL. I'm done.
Thank you.
So if you guys have questions after you guys leave, I will get a hold of Nikon, so just email them to me, and I'll try to get some clarification.
Did you ever get any, the presenter said he was gonna give a list of questions and answers, did he ever do that?
No.
Okay.
Is that a webinar that's still online?
Yes, I can, if you would like to watch it, I can try to find the link for it for you.
And did they ever send the actual content of the webinar so that you could print it out?
Yeah.
Okay.
They do.
Well, I think I have it. I watched half of it.
Oh, did you?
I did.
Okay.
I go to work, so I can watch all of it.
Yeah, will you email that to us?
I think that I'll check in my email and see.
Should be on the web, it's probably still.
I thought it was. I still
I can get
have
it. Yeah, I can get it from Nikon's website.
it. Yeah, I still have it, so maybe maybe it is.
Especially huge town it's gonna be.
Well, and they said this is just the first, they're gonna have a lot
I think
more.
you just answered your own question, though. The state says you can smoke it. And if you have CDL, the state says you can do it, but you just answered the question. The federal government says you can't if you have
A CDL.
a CDL, but that's what I mean, that's what he's saying.
No, yeah, we still got 4 guys that don't have CDLs.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
But that's the way, I always thought that same thing too, all the guys at Colgate.
But there's been debate on federal law, whether
That's
the
how they-
federal law overrides the state law, basically. I've been listening to it on and off in there.
That's as far as CDLs are
Just
concerned.
CDLs.
Just CDLs right now, yeah.
Which makes sense.
Anything else for you?
Yeah, she costs enough.
But Jamie took it easy on you guys today, so.
I knew you had this.
Mr. Gatton.
The only thing I have is, I had a phone call from an attorney for Conifer, the schoolhouse apartments this afternoon. And he tried to say, no, the big hole is the state's responsibility because they didn't maintain their culvert and all, and it's mostly on the state easement. And I told him, I don't think it, I think a great bit of it is on schoolhouse, but I said, the big problem is there's no fire protection for the building on the back.
To the fire department?
I don't know if they did,
There you go.
but I think everyone recognized that with the heavy curves, can you get around there without going over curves?
It'd be tight.
That'd be spiking.
You got your collapse zones too, that's right there in the middle.
Our other issue is, if we have to get a ladder truck back there for patient extrication, you're not gonna get there.
Right, well, and
We
that's,
could take our truck down there all day long, one of our trucks could fit, and it could be sufficient to them, but if I call Clinton and bring their ladder truck, they're not.
yeah, there's no way.
There's no way.
Well, and it's, I mean, I tried to explain to them that, you know, as soon as we notify their insurance company that there's inadequate fire protection, you know, they could have some problems. And he, you know, his line was, we need to lean more heavily on the state to get the state to fix it. I said, we've been talking to the state, but this is not, you know, the village's issue. This is your issue and, you know, the state's. They claimed they were filing a claim against the state. They were delayed or late in doing it, so they have to get approval from the Court of Claims to file a late claim. The state they've hired an engineer who put the blame more on the state. I said, well, I'm sure the state engineers are going to do just the opposite. But, and I explained this was a once in a lifetime, 100-year flood that took out a lot of, not only that, or up there, but all the way to Deansboro. So I simply told them, we had been leaning on the state, they needed to step up and get it settled.
Bill, was this in response to a letter you sent?
Well, we had contacted them, but also Kevin had
I
talked.
talk to them at least once a week, just to say.
Right, and they put that fence up and it was much better.
Yeah, they did the fencing almost immediately, but I keep calling because they keep telling me, well, we're in contact. So every Monday or Tuesday, I reach out to them, any updates?
See, those are the types of things that Wayne used to give us on a sheet every time we came to a meeting, all the things he's done since the last meeting. That's what we're asking for.
Okay. But, and he just keeps, they've gotta go to court this month, May. They supposedly go to court.
Yeah, but that's
That's the first time.
that's a very baby step toward, any resolution. They need to resolve it, not
Right, and that's what I told the guy,
litigate it.
that I don't care who pays for it right now, we need to do something temporary or fix it and they go after the state. Has nothing to do with the village of Waterville. It's you own the property, you need to fix it and then sue somebody after it's fixed. I don't care, but it's gotta be done.
But if there is a fire there and we can't fight it properly, are they liable to come back on road to Waterville without that something being ready, not filed?
We can put it in writing, but no, they've certainly been warned that, but yeah, I can put it in writing.
I just feel like.
Back to this attorney.
But even all Kevin's visits, we have those in writing,
That's correct.
Yeah.
Well, right now, I can start finding, or not finding,
Yeah, and
write up a violation for them to have to go to court. I could do it, every so many weeks,
yeah, but
but I don't know what that's.
that's not gonna get it done.
It's not gonna get done, but maybe it's gonna say,
Paper trail.
it's a paper trail, and also he can be charged up to $1,000 per day.
I think the insurance company aspect is.
Well, yeah.
Harder.
Yeah, that way would be.
I got this attorney's address in Rochester. And I'll put that in writing, but especially, with the ladder truck, yeah, there's no way it's gonna be a ladder truck. even.
I don't even think you get one of our trucks around that back.
But
I doubt that.
Our real plan, when that building goes up, is our first engine, 41 backs in, the far driveway. Then our rescue, that's behind that, that's 43 goes out front, the hydrant. A ladder truck would go where that hole is, and 424 would stay at 4 corners, feet on that.
But that's all assuming that driveway was there.
Right. And like Sean said too, you gotta take into account collapse zone, so typically we figure 1.5 times the height of the building is your collapse zone. If you try and put a ladder truck around there, you're never getting it around, and there's no place that you could safely set that ladder truck up around the back of that building.
Well, even if they fix the driveway, that might be the case.
Well, we would go side to side, depending on where the fire was, we get back that ladder in either driveway. I mean, you're still gonna be able to get all the way around the back,
There's 3 fire chiefs there, should be go. Oh, okay.
So you're gonna get a letter out to their Lord also?
Yeah, he wanted me to give him a call after tonight's meeting anyway. I'll give him a call.
Oh, I'll go take care of that.
Again,
On your own now. You're on your own now.
Running down this, I know.
Yeah, I don't see anything that's there. Oh, yeah, it's not gonna cover. You?
That's why I want to pull the insurance card.
Well, yeah,
Because
no.
if they all of a sudden found out their insurance company said, we're not gonna cover you.
Well,
You know, I told them for code violation, we could close up the building. But then again, where would all those people go? We don't have any, it's not as if we have duplicate housing in the area. But, if your insurance company was gonna cancel, somebody would. I would think they would. They're gonna want to see something.
Kevin, is there any time limit that we can give them, or you can give them, I mean, or no?
I mean, I certainly can write up and then they have, every time I write somebody up, it's a 2-week notice of what their intentions are to fix it. It's not necessarily you have to fix it, but you have to be in contact with me to tell me. And honestly, they are, so we talk in a week. But they're hinging on the fact that, I don't care, like I said, I don't care where you get the money. You fix it now and then go after the money. It's still a liability right now.
Well, there's nothing on the fire department's end that you can send them or any of that.
I don't think.
I'm just asking.
I mean, we could put something in writing, right? Need more coming from Kevin or from Bill.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, we could write down that, there's gonna be inadequate fire protection in that back corner of the building, but, I
This thing.
that all, yeah.
That's all.
Thanks, Bill.
Anything for Bill? Trustees, Mr. Evans.
Well, I asked everything I wanted to ask.
Brian Gold.
You're gonna talk about summer rec.
Oh, good, yeah.
Okay, so I'll let you
have
know that. Well, I'll join in with you and just the fact that, we threw the Waterville first in getting information from the village. I did put the grant proposal in the Komodo Corporation this next weekend. So, the idea is to develop the Big Creek Park area back there. And, we'll see where the grant application ends up. But even if we don't get that grant, it's a nice proposal that we can use for other avenues, looking for grants, community foundation, Martin Fund eventually, things like that.
Brian, have you approached any of the landowners that own property there?
No, the way I wrote this up was 3 different loops, and loop A is pretty much all our village property, the wells, and so. So to answer the question, on loop B and C, no, I've not talked to those landowners yet.
If we did get this grant, would that do A, B, and C loops, that grant, or no?
Probably not.
Okay, well, I'm just asking because if we get the grant, we can't do the other 2 loops without permission,
I think just loop A, do all the things we like to do, especially to make it handicap accessible down the stream. That would be a big chunk of money to get a ADA acceptable path down to the stream. So that'd be a big chunk right there.
Okay.
Amanda.
I actually have like 2 things. Sorry, I don't talk about it enough. One is that people have approached me, they love what Dan did with the board minutes on Facebook. Well, no, I was gonna ask, would it be okay if I had access to the village Facebook page? And maybe like when you send out the minutes, I could just like type them up on our village Facebook page?
If you want.
If that's, I don't mind doing that, that's
Okay.
easy enough. I know they like to they all have liked to read what he has written about the board meetings.
Well, I just thought, I just want the residents to realize that my meeting notes don't look like Dan's meeting notes.
So I'll do my best to make it like. It might take me a while to get used to it, but I figured I'd try.
To our page, and he just submitted his.
He had his own.
Yeah, he used his own, I think he must have kept his own very good notes.
He's,
And
yes,
makes it
did.
very
very
readable.
good.
But this is also available on YouTube now.
Yeah,
We never
but,
used to stream it before either.
I think they still would rather just read something quick about what happened at the board meeting.
But yes, the answer to yes, I will get you credentials so you can do that.
All right, and my second thing was, it was brought to my attention that Waterville is 150 years old this year.
And we just discussed it.
So Jill put it on the blog, and she was like, you know. So I didn't know, we probably should start thinking of something to do. I know it's weird this year with COVID, so there's not a ton we probably can do, but I don't know if we could work with the historical society maybe, or. I don't know. But I thought we should probably start thinking.
I actually just got out and looked at the Waterville Times issue of the week, they had it in 71, wasn't it?
Yeah,
I had some copy of that, after I saw that, so there was a lot going on then. Yeah,
Yeah, didn't they roll right from Sangerfield's 200th birthday anniversary to the village's?
I can run cart.
I mean, they had a ball and they had a lot of events.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Maybe we could do a banner of some sort at the bandstand or something. And now that you brought that up, the buntings that we have for the bandstand are somewhat faded. And I have been trying to replace them. Maybe we could do something in that that has.
Well, so when is, it's in July, right?
I don't know, I think the articles are from August. I don't know the exact date, but I was gonna get to ask the historical
Cause I
society.
say,
You can look back on the old minutes.
They took that.
He likes looking at that.
Meeting where they met.
That's what I'm talking about. He knows right where the book is.
I was,
Seems how I know Amanda should read it.
You should show her where it is.
But I same thing, I saw that, I said.
I was gonna say, Jamie, what about getting, the banners that we use on the streetlights? Cause that'll be after graduation.
That is correct, we didn't budget for that.
You only turn 150 years once.
We don't have to worry about it, we ain't none of us.
Absolutely.
And we don't have to do as many maybe as,
Even if we do every other fall.
yeah, I mean, we don't have to do the same as.
Because once the kids stuff comes down, then cruising bands are what kids.
Can you do the same thing?
Well, now I got brackets on both sides, so we can double up each pole. There's a bracket on each side, so you get two banners in each pole.
Can you do the same thing as cruising, get sponsors? That means does the sponsor actually cover it?
No, I mean, I think the banners for the school are like 2,500 to 3,000.
No, the foundation bought them this year and it's about 1,800
Oh,
for 35 banners, a different kid on each side, so 7 kids on 35 banners. And we went with the company that did them last year because the company made a mistake in their quote, I'm not quite sure we're involved in. So they came up with a much lower number, which was a quote they gave, but they honored it. So we thought, you know what, that they did good business in a pandemic year. So we went back to them to do, there were 2 cheaper quotes. Both were out of the area. One was near Schenectady, one near Watertown. Actually significantly cheaper. I think we're paying, the original quote from the place we're going was $54 per banner. The cheapest quote was $37.
So I guess,
So we went back and said, if we give you the business because you were so great last year, it went to 50, so.
can someone follow up with them and just make sure that they make that top boot larger than normal? That was one of the issues, because our threaded poles on the top part of
It's the same place that did it, so do they
So,
know that?
well, they did last year, because they had to make it, because that's larger than a normal banner.
Yeah,
And
they're gonna do just what they did.
I mean, I know Nick texted me originally about it, and Nick and I were in contact when we did last year, but then the president, or was it Steve? Yeah, the advisor emailed me about it. I forgot to mention that part.
So the loop needs to be bigger than it was.
Whatever they did last year, if they can mimic it, that's fine.
Yeah, that's what we did.
Because there's
Yeah,
30 holes that have those double threaded, the top part.
Yep.
And it has.
yeah, because it's the same company.
Okay, so
They're
it's,
gonna do the same.
because a normal banner is smaller.
But, You know, for 30 of them, 35 of them double sided, looks like 18, it's 18.
Awesome.
So,
Nice pictures. We're already on.
Is there any, and it probably isn't, is there any talk like the Waterville Fair to the Rotary, the Optimists recognizing this, or could there be, or is there?
Are you talking about the 150th anniversary?
Yeah.
I don't think there's been any buzz in the community
No,
about
but I mean, could there,
jump in.
something, I don't know what they would do, but something to kind of,
I don't know what they're doing for cruising, but can we do something? I don't know what's going on for cruising yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, is there any reason we couldn't try to combine the two celebrations?
no, I
That's
can't.
what I was thinking.
That would be the thing to do.
I know we have been given permission from the Hardings to use the lawn for car shows. That was our big thing last year. We could not overcome, so I'm hoping by next September, everybody's at the shots and things are, much more normal. If we ever go back to normal. So that would make the most sense to me is to combine the two.
Absolutely.
And I'll run that by Waterville first. I don't think they have any objections to that. More the merrier, get more people here.
Anything else, man?
That's it.
Now that you're in charge of all that.
I do that when I open my mouth.
Now, really, no, she didn't open her mouth.
Just cross her list of dogs.
You do that?
I was going to actually talk about the summer rec program, but I understand you're.
No, we can all talk about it. If you've got something to say it.
Okay, I was just, we talked about the busing and how things are gonna work, but I think that we still have to work some things out about that busing. Is that right?
Yeah.
Did Jill contact her or not?
She's gonna send it to after the meeting, so I'm not sure what the response was.
Okay. But it looks like, between all of the locations, they're gonna be able to work out a decent program with free lunches available to all the kids and coordination with the busing. And the busing is gonna be handled by the school, is that correct?
Yeah.
Paid for by the school also?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think it's down to just a few little quirky details
and hiring, they have to hire, yeah,
and what they're gonna do, but that's their
right.
issue.
So for those of you who are not aware, Waterville Central School, because of federal funding available, is gonna run summer school this year. They could hold maybe 100 kids altogether. And so, number one, school facilities won't be available for our Waterville summer rec, which we usually use their facilities. Once they get done with summer school, they were concerned about open areas, moving things from the high school project, storing them over at that building. So one reason or another, the school is not physically available for us to run the summer rec. So their idea was the kids who participate in summer school could get dropped off here after were given a morning program, a bag lunch, and get dropped off at the 3 sites, the Risking Falls site, the Deansboro site, the Waterville site, for their summer rec programs, which are this year just so fall to 3. No swimming, because there probably pools aren't gonna be open anyways. It would just be, we would have to run our programs, and we would do it just the time of summer schools, going those 4 weeks of July only. And what we've discussed here is trying to coordinate something between, this location, maybe the firehouse will, if they have a lot of kids, and we can't get correct spacing here, and would be work with the fire department, pull the trucks out and use that space for, especially in Clement 11. And then we could always go to Banner Park for activities, the library for activities, things like that. That would be the directors. Bring programs here instead of busing to Channel Forest, things like that.
Like 5 days a week?
Well,
5 days a
we
week?
will just do the 4 days of the school summer school. We're just doing in conjunction with summer school. So a total of 16 days.
So is it Monday through Thursday?
It's gonna be Monday through Thursday, except for the week where the Fourth of July is in there. That would Friday would happen that week.
Brian, anybody considers, like the fireman's pavilion, I mean, they all imposed, I mean, it would be up to the firemen, we all know that. But, because they have bathrooms there, you could put picnic tables back in under there.
I'm not sure that's big enough. I mean, we're talking about a kid with 6 foot around.
Just for
You
you.
get 36-foot circles in this room here.
Well, what are we gonna do now? I mean, we're gonna have more than one place, right?
Well, they're gonna try to pre-registration, how many kids we're talking about first of all.
Right.
And then go from that point. But I don't think that's a bad idea, Jim. Because you would have the future Big Creek Park land, maybe to do some activities out there. Firemen maybe let use the ball field that's there for kickball games. So that might be a suggestion. Less, I mean, it's a little farther away from it. It's not even that far away from an activity library, just come up that little back driveway. That's
Right, you
right.
don't have to even come up the street or anything with them.
I think the only issue with that is they're gonna be dropped off here with their bag lunch. So if it's raining
You say here, Village Hall?
here, this will be the drop off point.
Either the village hall or
Yeah.
the firehouse.
Bags, yeah.
Whatever, yeah. We'll put the picnic tables out and everything.
Inside,
I mean, because you're undercover and all there, you got bathrooms there.
oh, you want
I guess my concern is, this is getting into more summer rec stuff and village board stuff. I think my concern about that is inconsistency. Because you also gotta, if it's a rainy day, I guess we just gotta have consistency so the parents know where they have to pick the kids up from.
No, I'm thinking
Just,
that site instead of this site. It's got some advantages. You don't have a lot of traffic going around with cars and things like this with 50 kids, you know.
Plenty of parking where, like you said, you can run right up to the ball.
Right,
field.
yeah, there's all the car, everything's
They
there.
can do anything there.
Just the open pavilion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, see what the square footage is, see what they have to do for spacing for lunches, you know, work it out somehow. Well, anyway, so that's what we have to discuss, you know. It also suggested that they would pick the kids up here in the morning. We said, no, we don't want the kids get dropped off here in the morning. This is what Jill was going to convey to the schools, that if the federal program money is allowed for the summer school program, maybe they should allow them to get picked up at their houses, brought to the school, and then get dropped off at a location for either spend the rest of the day at summer rec, or parents pick them up at that location if they don't want to do summer rec. But anyway, so at the meeting, Dr. Springs, school superintendent, was here. Colleen Baldwin was here for town marshal, and she was gonna touch base with Amber Bell from University Falls to see who would be in charge of the summer rec, is float the idea by them as well. But, well, our committee is willing to work with them to do this, and so would Colleen and the rest of the town marshal would work with them as well. There, Gene, can we leave anything?
I guess I just don't know how. Inside here, there would be bad weather, otherwise they're gonna be bad at the field or the library, or they're not gonna be inside unless they have. I don't know how readily available those bathrooms are down there.
Right now,
Yeah, exactly.
and really underneath the food tent, with all the picnic tables and everything right there, and,
Not that room.
I mean, we have those picnic tables on.
So you take with parking in the parking lot.
And the other side is,
And that building, like firehouse is an already bigger, I mean, you're not gonna be able to get your spacing for 30 people inside that firehouse, I don't feel.
Well, it's twice as big as this room. You aren't gonna get 6 big trucks in this room.
You down to 3 foot spacing now for schools?
Not
That's like 80. No,
If you're sitting at a
not for eating. If they're sitting down, it has to be 6 feet.
You don't stand up and eat them.
And I don't know for sure, I think that's because they didn't have sit off over the.
Well, what would have to be done with the bathrooms, get them up and running.
power turned on, water turned on.
Teach them to use.
Check the plumbing.
Use
Sure.
Same person's gonna clean that.
Yeah.
They're all winterized now, yeah, you gotta get power turned on.
Yeah.
I mean, it can be
And
done.
it's not gonna be 5 days a week here or there. If it's nice out, they're gonna be outside. They have a field, that.
But I'm also saying that porta potties down there too.
I was just gonna say that.
But it's no different than using Babbitt Park, because there's only one facility there too.
I guess I keep going back to inclement weather though. So you're gonna have a little 4-year-old girl who's now, if they're down there and it's raining, it's gonna have to walk through the rain to get to the bathroom.
It's no different, you're gonna have to walk through the pavilion to get to the bathroom.
Is there a lot of money involved? Right,
I just think, I don't know.
Tell them to bring an umbrella.
Well, is there an issue with the firehouse?
Well, I just don't know if it's big enough, and I just, the coordination of the last minute in the
Do
city.
you think the firehouse is smaller than the pavilion?
I feel like you could, yeah, I do. The square footage wise,
Square footage, I think it is.
and we talking the word beer that part is too, that's all too. Yeah, I mean, that's got a roof over
Well,
it.
it's fine with me.
I just feel like the coordination to open the firehouse at a last minute decision to get the trucks out could be,
An issue.
yeah, manpower to do it, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying the village crew can't do it, but if we're busy doing something else.
If you got a
All of
water
a
main
sudden-
break, you're not gonna do it.
And then if there's a fire, you got a bunch of kids running around in the firehouse when you
Yeah,
got.
mine would be two of you, the pavilion is, let's say, they're down there because of training and the thunderstorm comes in, and you got 5 4-year-olds down underneath the metal building with no signs on it, and thunder. Is that gonna be an ideal location for pre-K, kindergarten, first graders?
I didn't bring it up, so.
No, I'm just. Kids are always in this.
Number 2, this includes preschool.
That's what I said, that's why.
You're gonna have some schools up there.
Yeah.
And maybe we don't have a building then, I guess we don't. Do it. But we gotta be.
I mean, they gotta be 6 feet apart. I don't think we have a facility that's big enough.
We do, but we're gonna put wood chips and compost in it.
Oh, you're right.
We can do the building we want.
That's.
Take all your stuff.
Firehouse is bigger than.
Right next to it, yes.
Firehouse is bigger.
Get a field trip every day to wastewater treatment.
Maybe go fishing, I wanna go fishing with you.
So that's the things they gotta talk more about. We don't really know how many kids are gonna, we weren't on the earth for 30.
And making them safe is a priority. I mean, that's obvious.
Yeah.
And things could change between now and.
Maybe we'll have to cancel it on a rainy day.
Yeah, you got a big barn.
Yeah.
Well,
I'm outside the village.
that's okay. Field trip. Hey, the sewer plant's outside the village ship.
That is true.
And it's possible a parent may not like our arrangement and they'll have the kid go to summer school, but they will just pick their child up and not have to participate with what we're offering, especially with the little ones like that.
Maybe you'll have to get that big tent you talked about.
And I did bring up the cost of what a tent might cost.
Anyways, those are issues that committee's gotta work out this year, this. We don't have access to the school. So, we'll know more by our next meeting, so.
We would hope to have our director hired and they will handle out and put our decisions.
So we can, the croquet field in the library,
Yes.
we put that tent on there, and we still have the power supply that the
My
foundation uses,
But I think Jill said that they still were not open inside the building.
talking outside.
You're talking croquet field.
I'm talking, you just said you're gonna look at renting a tent, you're gonna cover the croquet field, that's spread out pretty good.
I'm thinking of use of the bathrooms.
Oh. We'll move forward by that. We'll take one from the park, we'll take one from there.
The board by wheel, it's like it's like. A
We'll get
low,
all electric, that's all.
a low line bed truck.
I mean, I'm not trying to be negative now, I'm just thinking we think all different logistics involved.
I don't think the firehouse is a good place for it, really. Because if there is a fire call, it'll be a little chaos. You got a lot of little kids running around. That's just my opinion.
We just send them all upstairs, because they're coming down the fire pole. You know, the fire pole.
No?
Yeah.
I don't know, thanks for saying that, maybe we'll take our-
That's right. Zoning.
Okay. So, that makes your job easier now. On the 50th, compared to the summer.
Yeah.
So that, we think is starting to move, and once they get a director, whatever.
You know.
You picked that very well, right?
Anything else, Curtis?
No, I think that's it. I think you guys covered it all.
I've got a couple of things, mini mart, or meat, whatever, it is, mini mart. Can we get after a little about the junk down there? We can make it work, it looks, we put a fence in or something. The other thing is, my little pea brain spun here a week or so ago, there's issues with that building, it's a use issue, because it's zone something. Funky. And I dug those out, it was the busy bee, and had the
use. At least meet those requirements.
yeah, I don't think for hours 6 to 11. Indoor, bright lights, couldn't have bright lights, or loud outdoor music. They had to maintain the fence around the property, which is still there, I believe.
Yeah.
We don't know whether the- If those were, I mean, it's not, it's spent all the time, and it's between the house and the parking lot of the house. Yeah. So I didn't know if they should know that, or if it isn't in use anymore, or if it's.
As I say, minimally, they should at least meet those requirements.
You have a copy of that, or what I do?
Yeah, it's good, when I stop and tell them to clean up, but they're not open, they get there.
Yeah, no, I don't see that, right. But would that go to them, the owner of the property, or who, how does that?
Well, it would relate to the use of the property, so whether the owner or them, if they're the ones using it, they've got to abide by those rules.
So they have not purchased it? Because he indicated he's got 2 more years to pay on this, as it says.
Oh, that could be.
So I was gonna say, because that's why I went and talked to him after I saw you that one day.
At least the buy option or something like that.
He said he's only got 2, his family's only got 2 more years.
So I'm not looking, I just, in fairness to him, if there was something there he should know, but that, it didn't look like there was anything drastic or anything. Wasn't taken, he doesn't wake me up.
I don't think you'll was that early.
I,
No.
But they met all their inspections, you gave them a certificate of occupancy.
Or just the sale of what they, they can't cook in there or anything like that yet. As far as, eventually would like to do some kind of food service.
If they do get into that, well, grease trap.
It's, I know they're putting it in, so it's, they're getting it looked at.
Okay.
Was there a grease trap?
I don't think there was. But something that,
I think the only other big issue, they can't have, they're probably not. Okay. That's all I had.
I have one more thing.
Yep.
Just village board, thank Joanna, Elliott McNamara, the coordination they did for the Earth Day cleanup outside the village hall. I got some pictures of it, I put it to Jill, who put it on the Waterville First Facebook page. But Waterville First belongs to the Mohawk Valley Chamber of Commerce, who coordinated with the Keep the Mohawk Valley Beautiful organization. And so I called Joanna and the Rotary Club, and I know they do their cleanups, to register with that group. And then Joanna did it. She did contact the Rotarians, and they went down with Jamie Tuttle from the Solid Waste Authority and provided all the materials, all these green bags. And if you saw the dumpster over here after the cleanup that day, there was just bags and bags and bags. And I know I did Bogan Road, an old tire inside, brought that over too. So it was might one of our most successful cleanups that we can build on next year to get even more people to, register, get the free materials. They provided water, they provided the green bags, they provided plastic gloves. And so when Joanna was here, she had it all section of little baggies where your route was with your bags and your plastic gloves in it. You had the scout groups here picking up the little bags and off they went.
And we happen to have a bag wrapped around the organic return pump at the surplus.
No.
Was that green?
Yes, sir. And I'm thinking, where did that come from now?
I mean, no.
Somehow made to the plan.
But I know that I was telling some people that I met a gentleman who lives on Hamlet, where he helped his daughter clean up. They had taken the part in between Alex White's garage doors down the ravine and cleaning all that up. So, and I guess the guy's daughter took it and called dad to help. And so I think places got cleaned up that ordinarily don't get cleaned up. So I don't know if you notice a difference or not, but anyway, that's just kudos to Joanne to organizing all that. Hopefully she does it again next year.
Absolutely. Anything else, anybody? Motion to adjourn.
Make a motion.
Patty, it's good to see you.
Good to be back. Good to be upright.
Very Clary this year?
I'm not even driving walk it right now.
Yeah.